Thank you for being here at Mr. Super Oz. This video is going out, and this channel only exists because I, Oz, founded Gamble Comics, which first release was Everlasting Survivors, a 68-page graphic novel called All Day Long. Available now. Follow the link in the description that will take you to gamblecomics.com. While there, you can get hats, shirts, posters, much more, but most importantly, the story itself. Coming soon from Gamble Comics, BC Brute. Smackdown on 4/17/2003 comes from the Norfolk Scope Arena in Norfolk, Virginia. Every time I hear of this arena, I think of World Championship Wrestling. And here's one thing that WCW had for years and years, and unfortunately it died a horrible death, but it had a splendid and, for a time, well-treated television title. So many guys did great work with it. William Regal comes to mind. Stunning Steve Austin comes to mind. Absolutely. So many great television champions. And we open tonight's episode of SmackDown from the Norfolk Scope with the television champion, Nathan Jones. Hopefully he can do better. Well, I was going to say, hopefully he can do better with the crowd here in Virginia than he did there in Chicago. But he is defending against Rodney Mack, the former champion, the man who lost the title last week. And while Nathan does better than he did last week in execution, it is clear to anyone with eyes that Rodney Mack is carrying this match. And, I will say this, being a former years-long heel, it is the bad guy's responsibility to call the match. Generally speaking. Oh, you didn't know that? No. Oh. Inside information for those who don't know. Generally, it is the bad guy who calls the match, who plans it out.
Makes sense. They do the bulk of the actual offense.
Right. That, and usually they can feel when it's time for the crowd, when they're on the rise, when they take a breathe. Yeah, all that stuff. And so Rodney is clearly guiding the match, and he does take the clean loss to Nathan Jones, who retains the TV title.
For sure.
And here up next, we continue our reflecting on Jamie Noble.
Jamie Noble, a retrospective.
Exactly. And so here we see a highlight package of his in-ring debut from King of the Ring 2002, where he defeated Hurricane Helms in his first match for his first championship, because Jamie Noble's friggin' awesome. Speaking of Jamie Noble and being awesome, headstrong Jamie Noble comes out, just like we did last week, after the package airs, and he is a god to this Virginia crowd. Now, Jamie Noble is from, by God, West Virginia, but West Virginia and Virginia used to be one, so the crowd is fully on the side of our hero, Jamie Noble, as he takes on and defeats...
Possible future world champion?
We'll have to wait and see. I don't want to ruin it, so I will keep my mouth shut.
I already know the answer. So.
Exactly. It takes a while, but he gets there.
Yeah.
So Jamie defeats Jacked Johnny of the
Iron Addicts.
Exactly. And post-match, things get way worse than they even were last week.
Ooh.
So Mark was running his mouth at Val, but this week, Magic Mark takes his forearm and slams Johnny's head into the ring post after the match, because he is, again, Mark Jindrak is just, he's beside himself. He's
furious.
He's furious, and
like, I'm winning matches. Why can't you win matches?
Exactly, and he's lost his cool. But when it comes to men who are cool,
Carlito's debut?
Well, he's not from the Caribbean. But Eddie Guerrero,
Yeah, okay.
Latino Heat, I feel like has always had a cool factor to him.
Very much so.
And
Even when he was a filthy animal.
He is, exactly. He is. Have you heard how that group got their name?
Yeah, yeah.
So every time they would go out, and Disco would be, Rey Mysterio talking about it, he's like, Disco would say, oh, what'd you guys do? And he'd tell him, he's like, oh, how late were you? Oh, you filthy animal.
2 a.m. You got back at 8? Oh, you filthy animal.
I love it.
That's great.
So Eddie Guerrero is in the Intercontinental Championship tournament, and he is taking on The Big Show.
Nice.
And so
all these tournament matches, cruiserweights versus heavy to super heavy?
One moment. Heavy. Okay. So there's one other match in the opening of the tournament. I'll jump ahead to it. King William of the Regal Counter Threat is taking on Jeff Hardy. And at that, let's flip-flop it. That match happens earlier. Jeff and William Regal, early in the night. And in that match, King William puts the Regal stretch on Jeff Hardy. He is forced to tap out.
Yep.
And here's the other important part of this. It is Jeff's last appearance for quite some time in Alpha Entertainment Worldwide. So, back to the Big Show versus Eddie Guerrero. And Eddie gets his butt kicked throughout. Because, I mean, come on. Big Show's, Big Show. And the fact is, Eddie is so good at
selling.
One of my all-time favorite matches is Eddie Guerrero versus Brock Lesnar. Because the match just tells such a beautiful story.
It really does.
But just like that match, Eddie Guerrero wins this and moves on in the tournament because Eddie Guerrero is awesome.
Yeah. That's all I need to know.
And so, like I said, King William defeats Jeff. Eddie Guerrero defeats the Big Show in the Intercontinental Gold Rush tournament. In the third to last match, Mark Jindrak, who's now out here alone, Magic Mark, is trying to prove that he is the head and shoulders above all Iron Addicts guy when he comes to take on A-Train of the XL Factor. Just like he beat Big Show in the prior week, Magic Mark does beat A-Train here in this match.
The L Factor strikes again.
I like that. That's good stuff, the L Factor. I need to have Eddie or somebody call them that at some point because that's good.
1,000%.
Yeah, just drop the X and just be the L Factor. And given that I know what happens at the end of the year, thank you for that. I appreciate that. That's going to be so helpful. So helpful. So Mark does win, and this is the first time he's seemed happy since his prior victory over Big Show in the week prior. But this is Mark demonstrating his excellence. And so in the semi-main event, Night Test, but not any other members of the Regal Counter Threat, is in the ring. Out comes Goldberg, and it's not nearly as competitive or flashy as last week's match with Chris Nowinski. No offense, Test, but you're not at Chris Nowinski's selling level. You're actually far more body-wise there, but Goldberg wins decisively, and in the main event, the Hurricane beats Matt Hardy version 1 to become our new Cruiserweight champion, and it actually is perfectly complimentary, that's the right word, for the video package that highlighted Jamie Noble's debut where he won the Intercontinental title off of the Hurricane. And so it just makes it all make sense for a complete package of a show. And so with that, we close out the show with the Hurricane, the new Intercontinental champion. Big fan. I meant to say Cruiserweight champion, yes.
I know you meant.
I was looking at my Intercontinental championship is what
and it's so shiny.
Come to mind. But it's so many things are happening in route to making a new Intercontinental champion. We're currently have a new Cruiserweight champion. Just the TV champion is brand new. So many things are happening.
Things are popping on SmackDown.
Exactly.